Welcome, people, to another Hot Off the Press show. I'm your boy Tops. This is Chanzo Sports. Before I get into it, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It really helps this channel go forward. But yeah, we're going to be reacting to Mikel Arteta's press conference, and boy, he did say some things where I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not good at all. I don't want to be hearing you say this, but we will get into it. Obviously, we've got a massive game tomorrow. It is Arsenal versus Crystal Palace in the League Cup quarterfinals. And for me, this is a massive game. The reason it's a massive game is because we need to win a trophy this season. It doesn't matter if it's the League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League. We need to get our hands on some kind of silverware. So the likes of Saliba, Gabriel can actually taste winning silverware, proper silverware, playing for Arsenal, playing for the club after both of them have been here for 4 or 5 years now. They've not actually had a chance to lift some silverware, lift some arms in the air. I want to see armpits in the air at the end of the season. So yeah, it's very pivotal that we get far in this competition and win it, because we've had a good draw. We've had Bolton at home in obviously the first round, then the last round we had Preston away. Neither sides are in the Premier League, and now we've got Crystal Palace, which obviously are not one of the better teams in the Premier League, at home. So you would think it should be us progressing to the next round. But yeah, I'll get into Mikel Arteta's press conference right now. So he was asked on the availability of any injured players. Can we actually see someone potentially return for the game? He did say, unfortunately, Zinchenko and Calafiori are not available for Wednesday's game. Now, I was pretty adamant that Calafiori, I don't think he's going to play until next year now. I think that's injury is pretty serious to do with his knee. So I wasn't really hoping or thinking that Calafiori would be in the lineup tomorrow. But Zinchenko, man, it's a real issue. The fact that he only really started 1 or 2 games, and it looks like he's going to be out for a decent amount of time. And he always gets these muscle injuries. And it's really like hindering, obviously, the squad rotation in terms of the defense, because now we can't give certain players a rest because he's not fit. We have to literally play probably our first defense, and maybe minus like Gabriel Fakivio, for example. So yeah, that is a bit of a worry. On Declan Rice, he said Declan Rice is fine, but he will make a decision on whether the midfielder will train, or sorry, whether the midfielder will play after training. So yeah, another one where for me personally, I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't play Declan Rice in this game for the simple fact that we've got a lot of games coming up after this game. We've got Crystal Palace again at the weekend, and then after that, obviously, we've got Ipswich at home. So this Christmas period is always busy. Always busy, man. So you got to make sure that your players are rotated properly, and that you're not overly reliant on using the same players game after game, because they will break down eventually, and then you're really down to the bare bones after that. So yeah, very important that for me, Declan Rice doesn't start tomorrow's game. He also said playing Crystal Palace is always really tough. It's another layer of difficulty when you play a team twice in a row. And I always think when you play teams in quick succession, that it's very difficult to beat them twice. You might beat them once, you might be a draw, and that was my worry with obviously Man United. Obviously, we've beaten them obviously earlier in the month, but when we got them in the FA Cup, obviously they're going to come with a different strategy. We're probably going to come with a different team, different strategy, and sometimes the results are not always the same. So with this Crystal Palace game, I think we need to win both games. Obviously in the Premier League, we've drawn the last 2. In this competition, we need to try and get to the final and try and win it. But yeah, I think Crystal Palace at home, it should be a victory. But again, I said we were going to beat Everton, and we didn't. So yeah, you can't really rest on your laurels and think you're definitely going to win games, even if it's against Premier League opposition where you think you should beat them. It's always difficult. On Ethan Nwaneri and Martin Odegaard, can they play together? It depends on who they're surrounded with and the positions they can play. Ethan can play as a right attacking midfielder, a left attacking midfielder, a winger, and also he can develop as a 9. Now, I hope this isn't a ploy to get out of signing a striker, saying, oh, because I've never even heard of Ethan. I mean, I think I did see somewhere that he has played as a second striker in like the youth team before when he was younger. But this is the first time I've ever heard of Ethan playing as a number 9. So I hope this isn't a ploy that means that we're not going to get a striker in the near future, because he's going to try and build up Ethan Nwaneri as our next young striker. I hope not. But it's interesting. He does say that he can play all these positions, but then he's not started him. So it's like, if he's so versatile, like you're saying, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. Why are we not seen Ethan play more games, especially when we've been scoring to score goals from open play recently. I know he came on and didn't really have much of an impact, obviously, on Saturday, but I do think him starting more games will obviously help him build his confidence and maybe have him make more of an impact in the first team. So, yeah, I do think Odegaard and Ethan trying that and making them play together would be a good opportunity to do that. But as I said, I think when it comes to Ethan, I think there has to be a level of trust, not so just in terms of him coming on. Excuse me, not just in terms of him coming on, but him starting games, so he can get a rhythm and a feel of the game from the off. I think it's very important for like a young player to get that feel. You've seen obviously the performances with Lewis Skelly when he's actually started games compared to when he was coming on for 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. He's actually been able to grow in the game. Obviously, like when the game starts. So yeah, I think Ethan definitely deserves some more starts, especially when you've obviously put that faith in him and sold Vieira and Smith Rowe. And made him like the backup to Odegaard. I think he definitely should be starting more games. In response to whether Arsenal will be looking to do business in January. Now, this is the big one. This is the one where I'm thinking, I'm praying, I'm on my knees. Please, please say you're going to buy a striker. Please, forward, anyone, even a right back. People not even been saying it, but we actually need a right back because Ben White's going to be out for months. Tomiyasu, he's going to be out for months. He's got a knee injury as well. So we're literally playing Timber, who's just come back from an ACL, and Partey, who's normally injury prone. There are two right back options. If one of those goes down, or if God forbid if both of those go down, we're playing Josh Nichols in Premier League Champions League games. So yeah, that needs to be addressed. I don't think many people have even contemplated the fact that, you know, we've literally got 2 fit right backs at the club till like March now. So yeah, issue. But yeah, obviously Arteta was asked about the January movement, and he said what my deepest fears. I thought he would say it. I didn't want him to, but I thought he would say something like this. He says it will depend on who the player is, what the value of the player is, and other movements in the squad. That is a difficult one to answer. which in translation means we're not signing anyone unless we have like a massive injury crisis, or we get a massive offer for a player and we're willing to sell him to try and get some money back into the club, which is obviously not ideal for what we need, because we do need reinforcements. We do need to refresh that attack, and at the minute it doesn't look like it's going to come from us buying a player in January. But yeah, it's not good news, guys. It's not good news. He said he will not have to celebration to not his 5 years at the club, but he will reflect on it, because 5 years in the job of this size is very, very big. Yeah, it is a very big achievement. Some say that he's a bit lucky to still be in the job, considering he's not won a trophy since obviously 2020 when he won that FA Cup. I couldn't really argue with it, to be fair. Like, he's only won the one FA Cup in terms of major honours since he's been at the club, and he spent obviously a lot of money. So yeah, I think for him now, he just needs to get his head down and just focus on trying to win a trophy, man. And the League Cup, even though obviously it's the smallest out of the 4 you can win, it's a trophy. It's better than winning nothing. That's why I will always never like turn my nose up at any kind of trophy. A trophy's a trophy, man. If you win it, you get to the final, you beat someone in the final, you deserve the credit for getting there and lifting it up, because loads of other teams in the league are not going to win anything. So yeah, for me, I don't think putting your nose up at a Carabao Cup is the way to go, man. You've got to be trying to win in every trophy, in my opinion. On how winning the Carabao Cup can help them challenge for the Premier League, I think it's really helpful. It brings belief, trust, positive energy. Touching a cup generates that energy, and I think it creates the right path. See, again, this is strange to me as well, because what he says there is obviously what you want to hear. You want to hear people saying that, yeah, this is fantastic, you're winning the trophy, you're winning the cup. But he's not treated the cups that well. Like, he's gone out in like the 4th round, the 5th round, time and time again, to the likes of Southampton. He's gone out in the FA Cup one year. He went out to obviously West Ham last year in the League Cup. He's gone out to Brighton the year before in the League Cup. So we've gone out to Nottingham Forest, who were in the Championship at the time, in the FA Cup. So he's not really treated these like trophies like he really should have. He should have treated them seriously. We could have got far. Even like the Europa League, we got knocked out by Sporting, who got knocked out in the next round after that. So I think this is a real test and a real opportunity for him to get to at least a final. Like, you know, you could argue, I know obviously Liverpool are in there, but you could argue based on the last like couple of seasons, we're the best team in the competition. Like, that's still in it. Obviously, Manchester City are not in it. They've been knocked out by Spurs. Spurs have got Man United, so one of them are going to get knocked out. Obviously, Liverpool, you expect them to beat Southampton, and you got Newcastle and Brentford who are left. So it is a great opportunity to get to the semis and see who you get there, and then you could get to a final. Imagine if, for example, Southampton beat Liverpool, and then we get Southampton over 2 legs. And after if we beat Crystal Palace, that'll be an amazing opportunity to get to a final, having played Bolton, Preston, Crystal Palace at home, and Southampton. Like, you're not going to get an easier run like that. So yeah, for me, he needs to take it more seriously. Obviously, there was a comment he made as well, saying obviously the report said, "Oh, you've only won 1 FA Cup in your tenure," and he obviously said, "Oh God," he said, "What about the Charity Shield? I've won 2 of those. That makes it 3." And now, obviously, he's going to try and back himself, but I thought this was really poor from him, to be honest with you, because everybody knows that no one counts the Charity Shield. It's a glorified friendly. You know, it's not even proper. Obviously, football rules in terms of like yellow cards, red cards, and all that kind of stuff. Isn't go down as an official game. It's more of like a friendly charity event. So yeah, and it's a big shield, so it's not a legitimate trophy. It's not one of the proper ones that you count at the end as major honors. So yeah, I don't know why he put that in there. Maybe to explain to the reporter that, you know, he has won other trophies here. But nah, I think that was a bit. If I'm being honest, that was a bit shameless. To be fair, it was shameless, man, from Mikel Arteta. I know he's trying to defend himself, but yeah, man, that's not it for me. But yeah, I think that concludes everything he says. Oh, he said something about, is there a particular reason that Raheem Sterling's not been in the team? And he just said no, and that was it. But there's definitely something going on behind the scenes with Raheem Sterling, because he's not even coming on games. The last game he actually came on was Nottingham Forest, which is over a month ago. So, and we've been winning games, we've been losing games, we've been drawing games, and he's not brought him on once, not even for like 3 or 4 minutes. So yeah, maybe there's something in his contract that also have to pay him a bit more money if or when he plays more games. I don't know, man. But yeah, I think with that one, you could probably put that on the head. I know there's reports saying that Sterling wants to fight for his place in the second half of the season. But with Arteta, once he makes his mind up about a player in terms of how they are, then normally the player normally gets sacked or normally gets sold or gets returned back on loan to obviously Chelsea. So I expect that to happen in the summer. But yeah, that kind of really concludes obviously his press conference. Really, real tough game. We really need to win the game. Yeah, I'll be dropping a preview of the Crystal Palace game in a short while, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's been a brief press conference. Yeah, that concludes the video. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. Comment below whether you want or who you want to be in the starting lineup, or what you think of Mikel Arteta's obviously press conference remarks. But yeah, that's been your boy Tops. I'll see you on the flip side. And like I always say, don't hate the player, hate the game.